Yeah.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Ala's World of Finance and welcome to Stock Market Daily. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I've got a few things to talk about today. We're going to talk about the three major indexes, but we're also going to talk about the U.S. Jobs Employment Report. We'll talk about the tech sector because it's up today. Energy sector is down today. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk a little bit about some cybersecurity stocks. Those are up today, and we haven't really talked about those in my channel before, so we'll talk about those today. And we'll also talk a little bit about Sony, and we'll talk a little bit about Hasbro and Nintendo. They're doing something, and Rambus as a potential buyout for from Western Digital. And so we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about Microsoft as well. So anyway, we've got a few things to talk about today, so we should just go ahead and get started. But actually, before we do get started, I just want to mention that I'm doing something new with my channel now. So every video, we're going to have a poll question, and you guys can answer the question if you want to. It's not, obviously not mandatory, but you guys can answer if you want to. And then in the next video, I will announce the results. So for example, this video's poll question is going to be, which stock do you like more, AMD or Nvidia? So obviously, those are two stocks that a lot of people kind of fight over a lot. So if you have an opinion on that, all you have to do is just leave a comment, say AMD or just say Nvidia. That's perfectly fine. And if you don't mind actually leaving a reason as to why you like either one of those, that would be awesome, because then other people could read it and I could read it and stuff like that too. But you don't have to do that. You can just leave AMD or just Nvidia, and then on the next video that I do, I will announce the results. On the next Stock Market Daily video, I'll announce the results, and we'll just that'll just be kind of a fun thing that we can do from now on all the videos. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and get started. So when looking at the three major indexes here, so today's Friday, end of the week, well, the three major indexes are all green. So S&P 500 is up 0.1%, NASDAQ up 0.2%, and then the Dow Jones leading the pack at 0.3% positive. Now, something good in the news here, the U.S. Jobs Employment Report, they basically said that in the U.S., in June, that the U.S. added 222,000 jobs, and that basically beat most people's estimates. That basically beat most estimates there, and so it was good news, and it represents the second highest job haul of the year. And this is really a sign that the labor market is healthy. However, we should note also that the Labor Department did say that unemployment rose to 4.4% from 4.3%, so just 0.1%. But anyway, so that's that. Now let's take a look at the indexes for the day. So the Dow Jones today was up 0.44%. The S&P 500 was up 0.64%, and then the tech-heavy NASDAQ, which we've seen is can be very volatile lately, is up 1.04%, leading the pack. So that's very good, and I'm always happy to see the NASDAQ up because a lot of my stocks are in tech stocks. So anyway, now looking at some of the popular stocks here, Netflix, I believe all the FANG stocks were positive today, but Netflix up 2.68%, Facebook is up 1.75%, I believe Amazon, Apple, Google, I believe they were all green today, so that's good news. Now, looking at the gainers and losers here, we can see that, well, Applied Materials is second to the highest there on this list anyway, and it's at 3.4% positive, so that's good. I know a lot of you guys are invested in Applied Materials, so we may have to make a video on them soon. But and then O'Reilly Automotive, they're all the way at the bottom there at negative 2.08%. So they continue to struggle with everything that's going on with automotive parts and those type of retailers. Okay, so now looking at the sectors for today, the tech sector was up the most at 1.25%. So tech sector did very well today. And then let's see here, healthcare was up around 0.5%, financial was up around 0.5%, energy was down 0.10%. So let's take a look at energy really quick. So what's going on with energy? Well, the energy sector continues to be a little shaky. Yesterday's EIA inventory report showed an increase in U.S. oil production, and that sent U.S. oil prices down 2.9%, and they went down to $44.25 per barrel. So that's obviously going to affect crude oil stocks, which will in turn affect some energy, the energy sector and things like that. Now, we're looking at the tech sector. The tech sector actually did very well today. So when looking at that, Reuters is reporting that analysts are saying that the tech sector is not as overvalued as investors think, and that it will recover from these recent pullbacks. And I mentioned in the past that I really think that these pullbacks were kind of healthy, so hopefully we can kind of start going up again. But when looking at this report here and what they're saying, so They said that the tech sector is trading at 18.1 times earnings compared to 17.8 times earnings for the broad market, and that investors were leaving in fear of overvaluation and crowding, but that they're estimating that tech's profits will be at 28% of the total S&P 500 earnings growth in quarter 2. So that's a very big chunk there, and that upcoming earning reports will be positive, and that they will attract back a lot of these investors that left and stuff like that. They think that it will attract a lot of them back. So hopefully that happens. Now, for reference, the tech sector dropped 4% since the beginning of June. The financial sector actually grew 5%, and we've talked about rotations going on there as well, so that could be part of it perhaps. Now, healthcare sector, that grew 3% also. Okay, moving on here. So now let's talk a little bit about some of these cybersecurity stocks. So when looking at some of these cybersecurity stocks, so for reference, the cybersecurity market, it's worth around $35 billion. Now, it's obviously worth a lot of money, but the thing is that in that market, there's a lot of players. They have many players there. So Symantec is actually the leader, and it only has 7% of the market share. So the leader at only 7%. Now, CNBC reported that another high-profile cyber attack happened, and this time, the cyber attack happened to Mondelez International. And I believe that this is some food company. Excuse me. I believe it's some food company. I haven't really heard of them before, but there's some food company. And Mondelez came out and said that they predict a 3% reduction in revenue growth. Now, this sent cybersecurity stocks rallying up. All of these, cyber attacks and stuff like that sent their stocks up. So when looking at some of these stocks here, Palo Alto is up 2.65%, Checkpoint is up 1.44%, FireEye is up 4.48%, Symantec is up 2.49%, and Barracuda is up 5.53%. Now, the only one that I've really been keeping up with at all is Symantec, and let me see if I can pull them up here. I should have had this ready, but Symantec... Okay, so here it is. So Symantec is up today 2.49%. It looks like in after hours they did kind of dip back down a little bit, 1.44%. But when looking at their performance, I believe that they've been dipping a little bit. And I believe that they've been dipping like in the past, let's see here, performance, 1 month performance, they're down almost 5%, 3 month almost 8%, but then year to date they're still positive, almost 20%. So anyway, that's really the only cybersecurity stock that I've been really keeping track of, to be honest. But is there any that you guys like? And do you guys have any recommendations? Please let me know if there's any cybersecurity stock that you guys like. But a lot of ratings have been pretty positive on a lot of these cybersecurity stocks. A lot of them have been getting buy ratings, so it might be something to keep an eye on here. Okay, next up here, I gotta take a drink of water. All right, next up here, Sony. So Sony is in the news because they basically announced that with their PlayStation Vue, they're cutting the $30 Access Slim package. So in case you don't know, for reference, the $30 Access Slim package, it was basically their way of offering 55 channels, including ESPN, but it didn't have local channels. So people could cut their cable bill and they could switch over to Sony's PlayStation Vue package. They could just pick a package. And the cheapest one was at $30, and that let them watch cable TV and stuff like that. Now, they cut that. They just announced that they cut that one. So now their cheapest plan is at $40. And they said that they're doing this because they're trying to standardize their plans and pricing across all markets, which kind of makes sense to a degree. But the thing here is that I think that a lot of people are cutting their cable bills and switching over to like Netflix and Hulu because there's such a huge price difference. I used to pay around $80 or so for cable. I mean, it was like a ridiculous amount, but I cut cable a long time ago and I switched to Netflix. Now, Netflix and Hulu only charge around $10. So for PlayStation Vue to be charging $30 is already a bit too high for me, but I mean, it's kind of okay because there's a lot of diehards that would still want cable TV, so it could still work out. But now they're cutting that, and now it's at $40. I feel like it's a lot less attractive. But when looking at their stock, I believe they actually still went up. So when looking at their stock performance here for the day, they are up 0.67%. So Sony still went up for today. And then when looking at their performance, they're pretty much green almost across the board, down a little bit for the week, but Sony's still doing pretty well. So anyway, that's that. Okay, next up here, Hasbro. So when looking at Hasbro, they announced this little thing that they're doing here with Nintendo. They're doing a Monopoly game. Now, really quick, I want to mention I really like Hasbro, and I've really liked their stock for a long time, and I always wanted to invest in it, but I there was just other stocks that I liked more at the time, so I never invested in it. But I always really liked Hasbro, and I think that they do a great job of partnering with a lot of these franchises that are super profitable, like the Marvel Universe and Star Wars and Disney and Nintendo and all these different things. And they'll make games and products and toys and all these different things, and they do a really good job of it. So I really like Hasbro, so I'm a big fan of them. Well, now they're doing something with Nintendo. Nintendo's my biggest stock, so I'm glad that they're doing more stuff. They always do stuff together, but they're doing even more stuff. So anyway, they're announcing this Monopoly game. It's going to be called Monopoly Gamer Edition. It's going to have tokens based on Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong. These tokens will have special power-ups and unique abilities, and they'll have extra boosts by rolling the power-up dice, and extra power packs will be charged for around $3, and they'll offer additional characters. Now, the Monopoly game is available at GameStop, and it will be available to more retailers on August 2017. So let's take a look at their stock really quick. So when looking at Hasbro, I believe they've been doing pretty well here. So for today, they're up 0.73% for the day. And then when looking at their performance, they're green across the board. So for the week, they're green. 1 month, they're up almost 4%. 3 month up almost 17%, year to date up almost 44%. So Hasbro's doing very well. And then Nintendo rallied back up a little bit today because they've been dipping quite a bit, guys. And today they're up 1.77%. So I'm glad that they finally bounced back a little bit today. Hopefully it continues. And I expect them to do very well in their next earning report. Hopefully that will continue to help them rally back up. Rally back up going into the next couple quarters here and going into holiday season, where I really expect them to do well. Quarter 3, we know usually isn't a great quarter, but quarter 4, we really need to see some good reports coming out, from Nintendo and AMD. I really expect those type of tech stocks to really do well in holiday season and stuff like that. So Nintendo, they're red actually for the week because, like I mentioned, they've been dipping a little bit, but for the rest, they're green across the board. Year to date, up around 50%. So anyway, that is that. Now, next up here in the news, Rambus. So Rambus stock is up, and they recently hired an advisor to explore a sale for the company. Now, if you don't know what Rambus is, they're a semiconductor and internet protocol products company, and a big part of their company is its memory and interfaces division, or MID. And so basically, they hired an advisor, kind of looking for a sale, kind of looking for a buyer to buy them out. And Citi is reporting on some of these companies that they think may buy them out. And one of the companies among them, one of the biggest ones, is Western Digital. And I think it completely makes sense because Rambus actually does a lot of stuff with memory, and Western Digital is doing great things with memory. So that will really be a great partnership in my opinion. So when looking at this, Citi also reiterated a buy rating for Rambus. And so they've been getting some good news here. Now when looking at their stock, let me just pull up their stock here. Okay, so looking at their stock, they are up 9.89% for the day. So they're up massively, almost 10%. And then they went up even more in extended hours. So yeah, they're pretty much up over 10% for the day. And so I kind of feel like it might be too late to invest in them, but maybe not. I mean, they still have, in general, a lot of buy ratings. Looking at the analyst ratings here, it's also showing that they have a buy rating. And their 5-day performance is good, and 1 month performance is still green, but then 3 month and year to date is actually down. So I mean, they are still technically down a little bit. So it may be an interesting stock to watch. I might have to research them more. Anyway, that's that one. Next up here, this is the last one. So Microsoft, I just want to talk about them really quick. So they announced that CIO Jim Du Bois is leaving Microsoft ahead of the thousands of job cuts that they announced. So this whole reorganization and restructuring of its global sales staff, they confirmed this on Thursday, and Microsoft said that most of these job cuts will take place outside of the United States. However, they didn't give any specific numbers. So CNBC is reporting on this, and they said that it represents approximately 10% of Microsoft's total sales force. Now, I think that it's unfortunate. Like anytime you're cutting jobs and stuff, it's unfortunate, right? But a lot of analysts and investors wanted this to happen actually, so they look at it as a positive thing. So when looking at their stock, it's actually going to affect them positively. So when we look at their stock here, they're up 1.3% for the day. And when looking at their performance, they're up just a little bit for the week. But tech stocks have been doing kind of they've been kind of shaky lately. So anyway, that's kind of that. So anyway, I think that's about it. One last thing I want to mention is that I just signed up for StockTwits. So if you guys want me to follow you, or you want to follow me or whatever, let me know what your username is. My username on it is just Ali's World of Finance, and it just has underscores in between the words. So anyway, feel free to follow me, or I'll follow you guys too. Anyway, I think that's about it, and I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please like the video. If you're new, please subscribe. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you watch the video all the way through to this very moment in time, then you are... Today, I would say you're like the cybersecurity stocks, because you guys are protecting my channel from like mean people that hit the dislike button, but you guys hit the like button, so that counteracts. I don't know where I'm going with this. So anyway, all right, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day, and take care.